Hello all, Zysaurus here. So it's the normal weekly stream, and this week Doctor Strange has come out. I didn't actually go, well, I did build a deck that was Doctor Strange focused, that was quite interesting, but I don't really feel like playing that right now. It works, it beat all 6 scenarios, it was aggression, um, but I want to mess around with the other aspects, so I'm going to be building a new deck instead of showing off the deck that I built off previously. In this particular case, I am going for almost certainly. I'm pretty sure I'm going to go for Justice. I could change. I could go uh, Protection. Um, Leadership. I don't want to do aggression because I've already done aggression. I have a pretty good idea for a leadership deck that I'm probably going to play on the weekend, because I think it's honestly probably one of the better aspects for him. And I don't know if I really want to play one of the better aspects for Doctor Strange, because in case you haven't heard, Doctor Strange is quite good. Has quite a lot of power in the set here. So, how are we going to do this? We're going to go Justice, I think, and Basic. And the biggest thing I think when I'm building these decks at the moment, the Doctor Strange decks, it's sorry about that, is what synergy does he specifically have that other characters don't? Because like you can build a generally good deck, and that's where I think the aggression and leadership decks quite shine. Because there are options there that he is the only character that can achieve them. Whereas Justice and Protection, I think, fall back on generally just like generally useful deck styles. But we'll see what we can do here. So the first thing I'm going to want to do is we'll start with that. We'll start by grabbing out all the cards, which I've done. And so we've got my 15 here. Grab out the Justice cards here. We'll put the forward card on top. And I'm just going to start by saying I'm playing the Sorcerer Supreme. It is... It's going to affect all of them. Hey, I'm going to make them huge. That's actually probably not a bad idea. Anyway. Yeah, so play only if you have the Mystic traits. While in hero form, get +1 hand size. It's like an Avengers mansion that only works if you stayed in hero form for that turn, which Doctor Strange I think just wants to do all the time anyway. He has the Mystic trait, I think on both sides too. Mystic, yep. So yeah, this is a just really powerful card. You really feel the difference if you don't have this in here. So next thing, we've got to focus on what can Doctor Strange do that other people can't. So he can change status tokens, and he can give a ton of characters a ton of tough tokens. So because he can change status tokens, I think I need 3 copies of Concussive Blow. I don't want to get stuck on Vapors of Veltor. And this allows me to put confused icons, which I can then turn into stun if I when I get Vapors. So I think that's a good place to start. I think the Quincarrier is a good place to follow up because these require a particular resource. We want 1 copy of Under Surveillance because it's just very good. Just straight up very good. Now, I want to be able to thin my deck a little bit. So let's put in a copy of Heroic Intuition, an Interrogation Room. We'll see about Interrogation Room long term. Maybe a Counterintelligence? That can stop me from losing the game. out of nowhere. The 2 core set resource cards, the 3 double resource cards. Okay, so that's not for thinning deck, that's just because they're very powerful, just in general. I like Mockingbird. I can turn it into a Confused if I'd like, or I can just keep it as a stun. I like Nick Fury. See, we might revisit and remove them. Tenacity, we'll put 1 copy in. No, not that one. Downtime. Okay. Okay, so we've got a decent start of a deck here. So I'm obviously focusing on thinning my deck. I could go a little bit more aggressive with the thinning of the deck, but this is a good start here. A couple more spaces for allies from Justice, which if I do end up running Counterintelligence and if I do end up running the Counterintelligence, I might put a Coulson here to go find it. It's a pretty good play. But we'll see what we end up actually doing here. I'm not going to put foiled in because I don't think I'm ever going to try and flip to Alter Ego when he's not confused. The main thing I'm worried about at the moment is minions. You don't want to use an invocation to kill a minion. They are not worth it. So maybe I want to actually put in 2 to 3 copies of Stealth Strike. Maybe I'll drop this to 2. I don't actually need that heavily. Let's move it down here. And instead run 3 copies of Stealth Strike. That gives me an answer against minions. And allows me to trigger the interrogation room, which is a nice little side bonus. Yeah, let's try that. Okay, so this is my answer to minions. Okay. Obviously this isn't enough cards yet, so I've still got some room to play, but I remember last week I started talking about how there's like 3 main effects that you need to do when deck building. So you need to consider how you deal damage, how you remove threats, and how you protect yourself. So in Doctor Strange, your invocation deck can handle most of that. So it has Icons of Icon removing your threat for you. It has Vapors. Oh, that's not the one I was thinking of. It has the Crimson Bands of Cythorak doing your damage for you. You have your 7 Rings of Ragador allowing you to do your defense. If you put this on for your allies, so you want to get to the ally limit basically, and put this on there so you can have like 3 turns where you don't even have to worry about damage pretty much. But to do that, I would need more allies. So I'm going to work on that in a minute. Wong will probably sit there forever, and I think I want to cycle my other 2 slots. So we'll have a look at what we can cycle with Injustice, which I don't think is something they're actually very good at. The Justice allies, that is. And the Vapors of Voltaire getting stuck on the top is a problem. So that's why it's in. That's why I've got a couple copies of this Concussive Blow, just to round that out a little bit, so I can have more tokens, and more tokens means more tokens I can change. Even if it's not the best, option to change a confused into a stun, I'd much rather turn a tough into a stun or confused. Okay, let's go. What I could do, I could do Daredevil, and Daredevil could actually take the second slot. I could actually keep Daredevil round rather than going, sorry, Wong takes one of my ally slots, Daredevil takes one of my ally slots, and then the last characters all cycle through that third slot. And the characters I would want to cycle are Mockingbird, Nick Fury, and I guess Coulson. Coulson's got a pretty good thought value on him. And if I just fought a ton with my allies, which I can at the moment, I believe, I may not need to focus on it. I may not ever need to exhaust fraud. This leaves me with 3 slots, which could be more tenacity. I like tenacity in Doctor Strange. Generally speaking, it wouldn't be worth it, but Doctor Strange's invocation deck is incredibly powerful. If I did do that, oh no, wait. If I'm doing that, then I probably want to go for a med kit, first aids, not med kit. At least 2 first aids. That'll up Daredevil's value. And I can thin my deck one more by putting in a endurance. It's probably worth it. Yeah, get my hit points up a little bit. So, what cards do I have that are kind of suspect at the moment? It's the Interrogation Room. Maybe the Counterintelligence. Oh, I have no first aids. I got no way to deal with side schemes here. Do I want to just deal? Like, if I get a side scheme with a minion, this becomes an option, but that's not always going to happen. If I remove this, I have to remove him. But then I could add Jessica Jones. I could also do for Justice. Even if I just cut those 3, they're the most suspect cards, I think. That would get me 3 copies of For Justice. And I have a decent amount of mental, so I'm more likely to get the 4 than anything else. Kind of hard to justify with the images of Icon. Let's do that. Let's keep that. Let's cut endurance instead of tenacity. No, we'll keep the endurance. I think the 2/4 justice is too much value. Where are you? It's a very powerful card. One, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, I've got so many. I need these. I need to find space for these. Yeah, I've got way too many expensive justice events that I can't not include these, particularly with how they interact with what's it called? Magic Blast. So those are back on the table as well. I want to thin my deck, so I want that. I want that so I can justify Coulson, and I think Coulson is justified in that 3rd slot alongside Nick Fury and Mockingbird, and I think the 5 allies is a good number to have in the early game. Maybe endurance is out. Hopefully I just won't take any damage, so I don't think the 3 hit points will matter, even though I would like to thin my deck a little bit. Downtime I think matters no matter what, because it's always the possibility of healing if I need it. Endurance only matters if you get really low on hit points. Like, if you weren't going to die, because you were always higher on hit points, then this never mattered. I need another slot for this. I need to find where I can cut a card. What is the most suspect card here? Like, it's this. It's the Heroic Intuition. It's the most suspect card because I can't afford to exhaust for threat removal, particularly playing Justice where I already have all the threat removal. So let's do that. Let's get rid of those. And group up this. Oh, we got. Let's just order this a little bit better. Let's just take a screenshot for the description of the video. But back to what I was talking about before. Threat removal, we've got the Justices, we've got well then these are damage. These are damage and clearing and whatnot. We've got our threat removal, our allies, and in particular the card over here, the Seven Rings of Ragador. Are the way we're going to prevent damage, but also a little bit this concussive blow because it allows you to have a turn in alter ego instead of in hero form. And then the stuns from Crimson Brands of Cyteract and maybe a Vapors of Volta. We'll see how that goes. Yeah. This seems like the way to go. Seems like what I'm going to do. So we'll just get that all shuffled up. And I'm going to play against Rhino here. I know that I've just mentioned just before that Doctor Strange is quite strong, but A, I haven't tested this deck, and B, I just want an easy win to start off my stream. Just get to warm up. We'll probably do like Rhino Claw Ultron. I think that's my normal testing gauntlet with new heroes. That's what I did with 2 of the 3 versions of Black Widow when she came out. So I'll see you shortly with Rhino, and I may not roll. No, we'll roll the modular set, but I'll be back shortly.